What's up, YouTube? This is Orange Cross Gaming here. Hopefully, you had a great 4th of July. I know I did, after work and all that kind of stuff. Enjoy the fireworks. Hopefully, everyone was safe on this day. Had some good barbecue. Thank a veteran. Remember what this holiday was about. Anyway, today I wanted to do something a little different on this channel. There's no gameplay in the background because this is kind of be something a little bit different. I told you in the previous video that I wanted to do some Star Wars lore, since I've been actually watching this a lot recently. One of the biggest questions I have when I was watching the originals and the prequels, well, mostly the originals, because this is where it ties into, why did Darth Vader take to Episode 6 to realize Leia was his daughter? And it only took till before Episode 5 for Darth Vader to know that Luke was his son. Now, I have a theory on this, and I'm going to get in depth with it. And let's get into it. Let's get into, during the start of Episode 4, once, the Empire finds Leia Organa, Leia was doing a ambassador mission. She was actually trying to get Obi-Wan from Tatooine to come help Bail Organa fight the Empire. But she claims that she was, on some mercy mission. But Darth Vader knew that she wasn't really doing this. And the Empire was looking for the Death Star plans, which Leia indeed have, but transferred it to R2. Darth Vader, just referred to her as the princess and stuff like that. Didn't really take a look and say, hey, this is actually my daughter. I didn't know that, And the reason why is because Leia was never really, even though she did have the Force, she never really explored that option. She never actually knew she had the Force. And one of the things is, like, in Episode 6, she says, I kind of remember my mother, she was beautiful but kind of sad, But this can go both ways. This could actually mean her remembering Padme, her actual mother, or she could be remembering Bertha Organa. I think that's what her name is. Her adoptive mother. One of those two. So maybe she was remembering Padme, or she was remembering her adoptive mother before she died, kind of a young age. But Leia never really tapped into her Force potential until maybe Episode 5, when they were looking for Luke, and then when Luke calls out to Leia. And the whole time during the Death Star and during all that painful interrogation, Darth Vader never really looked and said, hey, that Princess Leia is not my daughter. He just failed to realize that because there was not much of the Force. Like, Leia did have the Force, but for me, not tapping into it until later on really didn't ring an alarm to Vader. So Vader just looked at Princess Leia more as a different person than actual blood. And this can tie pretty well because Vader knew about Luke in the comic books. Like, Boba Fett tells him it's just Skywalker. And what really made Luke stand out to Vader more than Leia did before was actually Luke's sense of adventure and trying to better himself. And this can mimic Anakin, because Anakin was trying to do the same thing. He was craving adventure and trying to be really powerful, but for his own sakes. And Luke was just doing this because he had nothing left. He wanted to adventures. He wanted to join the Imperials. He wanted to do the Academy and stuff like that. But he wasn't. And it wasn't until he met Obi-Wan and the droids that he was able to do that. And then once he started learning the ways of the Force, this kind of like started to open him up to a bigger world. And eventually, once they were flying to the Death Star and about to destroy it, that Darth Vader sensed the Force was strong in his son. He just didn't know until Boba Fett told him. So really, Darth Vader at this point is knowing that, Luke Skywalker is my son, so my child did survive in birth. But not Leia. Leia hasn't explored the Force yet. And coming back to Episode 4, and it wasn't just clear there, this is when Luke was starting to kind of use the Force more. Starting to use his lightsaber, trying to learn to use the combat and all that kind of stuff. And Darth Vader sensed it, and then shortly after, he found out. Even when the Emperor said that, Luke was the offspring of Anakin Skywalker, well, Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker already knew this, so it's just like, yeah, okay, I know. My plan is to convert him to the dark side so we can kill the both of you. And he already knew this, but then it wasn't really until Episode 5 that, once Leia really started to tap a little bit onto the Force when she was being called out by Luke. And then all the way to Episode 6, and I think the real turning point with this, what kind of Darth Vader knew now, was that once Luke said to Leia that she is his sister, the cards just churn. I mean, everything we didn't know now is known. That now Leia and Luke are siblings. We can confirm that because Luke said that to her. And this is where Darth Vader starts to sense. I mean, he had to pull this information out of Luke during their fight up on the Death Star too. Luke was there fighting for his friends, and he was very afraid. And then, I mean, Darth Vader was trying to seek him out. But, I mean, Luke came to him at first. And then once he started kind of probing with his mind, he found out, hey, you just told Leia that you were his sister, or you're his brother, or, something like that, right? And that they're related. And then that means, oh, wait, I have a daughter as well. Oh, man, this is good. Now I can mess with your mind. So that way, if you're not going to be in the dark side, then maybe she will. And that part really pissed Luke off, and how he defeated him and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, since now once Luke brokered the fact that Leia and him are related, this really started to open a door up to the Force. And I really don't know if Darth Vader knew that by then, like trying to track Luke through the Force. But I mean, most certainly he learned it once he was probing Luke during their fight. And then, eventually after the Battle of Endor's ended, Darth Vader's redeemed and all that, Leia starts to, in canon, she really doesn't learn to become a Jedi. She takes, like, her senatorial path, kind of like Padme was, And, she starts trying to tap into the Force a little bit. I mean, we could see that in Episode 7 when, Han Solo, her longtime lover, dies because of Kylo Ren. And, Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo, actually had some of the Force because of his lineage with the Skywalkers. And, Leia being a Skywalker herself, she had some of the Force. Passed it on to him. In short, I mean, Darth Vader really didn't realize this all the way into the end, just because Leia hasn't tapped into her Force potential at that point. She was just being a senator like her mother was before her. And to look at it is that Luke is more like Anakin, like Luke craving for excitement, trying to become powerful and all that. But I mean, they had different goals. Like Anakin wanted to save Padme, wanted to, kind of be a really strong Jedi. Luke was trying to do this to like defeat Vader, but once he found it was his father, wanted to save him, redeem him. But I mean, Leia's always been about politics, mostly because of Bail Organa and that side of the family, or the adoptive family. But really, Padme was the same thing. She was a queen. Leia was like the princess. They were royalty, and then they were senators. And then Leia continued that even after the Battle of Endor. Going to find the Resistance and being a senator for the New Republic and all that. And and eventually, like in Bloodline, I mean, the new kind of canon novels, it's just that lineage with Darth Vader really kind of took a toll on her career from the new Senate, because you're related to somebody that caused so much destruction and was essentially the bad guy, even though he's a tragic person. That tragic person is Darth Vader. And that's how Kylo Ren kind of found out in the bad way about Darth Vader just embarrassing your mother. But anyways, so the whole synopsis is just Leia never really tapped into her Force potential before episode 5. Once she started getting glimpses of that, little taps here and there when Luke was calling out to her, and it really didn't open the doors until Luke revealed that she is related with Luke, And then Darth Vader had to do some probing. So at the time, Darth Vader really never knew Leia was his daughter until he probed Luke. Could he have known by then? Maybe, but I highly doubt it. Luke didn't know this as well until Obi-Wan. He was talking to Obi-Wan about Luke being related to Darth Vader. So yeah, I mean, that's what it is, and you can see a lot of the similarities between mom and father, son and daughter, stuff like that. And eventually, Luke goes on to tries to find the new Jedi Order. Anakin's at peace. Padme's been dead, and Leia's continuing what her mother does, being a senator. But yeah, it's because she never really tapped into her potential. Really caused her to not really like follow, not really catch the eye of Darth Vader. Now, if she had, in a different continuity, if she actually did, then Darth Vader would have found out. It's like, he would have to think a little bit about it, and he was like, shit, that's my daughter. I'm going to try to convert her to the dark side, train her in the ways of the Force, you know? But it eventually, it was just lopsided. I mean, it was Luke that he was trying to probe, but at the end, Darth Vader felt conflicted, and his love for his son was really strong, and he saved them, redeemed himself, and a happy ending there. But yeah, but Leia was just she never really knew about the Force potential she had. Not even aware of it. Bell Organa was really aware of it, but never really told him. And you can see that too, like where Ben Kenobi was telling Luke that Darth Vader killed Anakin, even though Anakin and Darth Vader are the same person. You can see that maybe Bell Organa actually didn't tell Leia that you were related to Anakin Skywalker, one of the best Jedi, one of the greatest Jedis of all time. So you could see that too, like where the those similarities are. Ben Kenobi's not kind of telling the truth in a certain point of view, as he would say, and Bail Organa kind of doing the same, hiding the truth of the lineage. And yeah, that's really what made Leia not be recognized by Darth Vader until the end, until he got slashed. Hopefully you like this video, guys. I mean, I have not found any videos on this whatsoever, any topics about it. So this is all something I had to think about in the notice of time. I'm gonna try bringing more Star Wars lore into this and start reading more Star Wars books. And yeah, see the different kind of things we can learn about Star Wars. I mean, I'm a really big fan of it. So yeah, and I'll bring more gameplay of other games. So not to worry. All right, guys. This is Orange Cross Gaming signing out.